Welcome to the Property Talk, where we make sense of the real estate industry. When I said this month I gave it to the women, I meant every word of it, every bit of it. I meant it to the T. And today on set with me is Esther. Esther is a new face. You've never seen her on the property show. And it's our first time to host her. It's our first time to meet her and engage with her. But she was something of interest to me when she was introduced to me by Mr. Vincent Agaba. Vincent Agaba is a resident face, He's someone we talk to every time here and then on the property show. But he introduced to me Esther when I told him about our female month. Esther is still in school. She's doing electrical engineering. Am I right?
Yes.
What made me decide to say no? We need Esther on the show. Esther's edge is the edge that shows you need to find that niche that you want, work towards it, push towards it. Esther, as we currently speak, is doing domestic or electrical installations. Yes. When you look at her, female doing electrical engineering, female currently doing domestic or electrical installations. Yes, she's not just doing it in school, she's actually applying it out there practically. Esther, it's a pleasure having you on set.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
So, Esther, what is your experience with electrical engineering?
Electrical engineering involves the study, design, and application of equipment and device that use electricity, and it's divided into a wide range of different fields. When you talk of domestic installation, it involves the wiring, the lighting, and lighting is actually one of the most important things in every home because it changes the mood of a place and it creates that warm and bright appearance in a home.
Esther, which university are you in?
I'm currently done with certificates, so I'm just waiting for diploma.
Where did you do your certificate from?
St. Joseph's Technical Institute, Chisuri.
In your class, what was the percentage or ratio of girls to boys?
We're just about 10.
Okay. In total, the whole class were 10 people?
10 girls.
10 girls, and how many boys?
The boys are over 80 plus.
You can imagine. In a whole class, you have over 80 plus boys and just 10 girls in an electrical engineering class. That goes to show you that the industry we are in, like I've been saying, is strictly and highly dominated by the men. But it is the few females like her, like those I've hosted before, that are breaking those barriers, that are changing that notion, that are changing that belief and saying, no, this is a field we can all blend in. This is a field that we can work hand in hand in together. Esther, you say you're doing domestic installation. Yeah. What do you mean by domestic installation?
By domestic installation is all about wiring, the lighting,
yes, this wiring, the lighting, but this is lighting and wiring for what kind of real estate? Is it commercial? Is it homes? Is it hotels? What is it? What is domestic?
Homes. Basically, homes, can be hotels, anything.
Okay, so what is your experience from the time you started to apply this practically when you finished your school certificate? What has been your experience? Keeping in mind the constant factor of your age, what has been your experience?
I've been doing this for close to 5 years now, since 2019.
Meaning you started this when you were a teenager?
Yes, secondary school.
Wow. Now, when you hear me say you say this as a teenager, and she says close to 5 years, I know some of you are calculating the age, but yes, she is that young.
The very first time I decided this could be the best career for me, people are all questioning and they're like, she can't do it, because engineering is actually one of the most highly male-dominated fields in the STEM, So people actually think this work is supposed to be done by men.
Later on saying people, I'm a woman, I'm still here, and that's what I always thought. I felt like, anything electrical, engineering, and all these things, these are things for men.
Yes.
And here I am. You're actually breaking this notion. You actually stood here with me and you're telling me no. It's not true.
Yeah. People actually think this kind of work is supposed to be done by men, the electrical, the plumbing, building, the painting. But that is so wrong, because actually today companies are giving positions to female engineers, and there is high chance of having a job, a position, a big position in companies today.
So, what is your experience in electrical engineering? What is your experience practically out there as you are applying this knowledge? What are you experiencing in a field that keeping constant that is highly dominated by men? What is the experience?
My experience has really been challenging, you know, like you walk into a place and people are wondering why you're there. You're female, you're young. They actually think you can't do anything, but it's really challenging, mostly when it comes to uh, the ladders, you know. It's really hard, but every day that goes by, you get to do things better each time.
How many projects have you so far done?
I can't really mention, but
Approximately how many?
approximately five.
5.
Yes, and our recent project has been Serena Heights Apartments.
Okay. The ones in Chigo?
Yeah,
Oh, I see those. They look lovely.
Yeah.
So that's your most recent project. It's used under electrical wiring for that project.
yes, with some other colleagues.
Okay.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, would you recommend that more women join this department, join this field, or you say, no, it's not one I would recommend for my fellow women?
I actually recommend fellow women out there to join this field. Like, if there's any female out there that feels they have interest, they should just go for it.
Esther, I'm amazed by your age and the fact that you're this young, but you have taken on such a big role. Things that we felt like, you have to be a certain age to do that. And at your age, you're breaking that barrier. At your age, you're actually doing it. And you seem to love that you're doing it. You seem to be enjoying that you're doing. What are some of the things you enjoy when you're doing your work?
I actually enjoy everything about engineering because I've always loved to do this since I was in high school. I've always loved being an engineer.
Other than loving it, what is it that when you get to work, like for example, the way I'll say when I'm working, the one thing I love is on the particular show, the one thing I love is the proper talk because I get to interact with you. I get to talk to different people. I get to know what their scope of work is. I get to learn. So when you get to, say, a site, what is that one thing that excites you to do and say today, maybe they say today you're wiring this or today you're doing this. What is the one thing that excites you?
Basically, just the fact that I can do something and someone out there is getting inspired. Yeah.
That's what excites you. Before we say good night and thank you for being on the show with us today, it's a pleasure. I'm still amazed by what you do.
Thank
I'm
you so
still
much.
really blown away by everything. What parting words would you like to give to the audience?
One thing I would like to tell everyone that is watching us out there is if you're female and you feel you have interest in anything to do with engineering, I really encourage you to go for it because that part of, it's supposed to be done by men and all, it's no longer working today because today actually female engineers are on board and they are being given greater opportunities actually to work in big companies.
Do you think our education system has done much to favor the female engineer or it
Yes.
hasn't?
It has. It has because even in schools back then most technical schools only actually had boys, but today, uh, every day, more and more ladies are entering the industry.
Okay, that's interesting. Esther, it was a pleasure having you on set. Thank you so much. We hope to visit one of your sites and see the work you're doing. We hope to see you in action and in motion one of these days. Apart from what we have showcased on the show, we hope to actually see you in action one of
Thank
these
you
days.
so much.
It was a pleasure having you on set. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.